Today we're going to make a makefile. And I think this is the best way to learn how to use makefiles. And makefiles are super helpful. And once you learn how to write one, there's lots of stuff past it. But for the most part, you can write your own for your own programs pretty quickly, and it'll save you a lot of time in the end. So I just have a simple hello.cpp in a folder called video stuff, and that's all that's in there. So I'm going to try and compile. It's just a hello world problem. So g++ dash pedantic dash where, if I could spell, dash wall dash o1, and then hello.cpp dash o, and I'm just gonna call it a because I make all my executables. I'll call it run this. So there we go, compiled. We can run it. Ooh, hello world, cool. And then the issue is, so say we make some changes to this, right? And we make a space here. Compile it. Then either I have to retype all of this G++ stuff out again, which, man, I'm a bad typer, or I have to hit arrows, and then sometimes it's 70 arrows up, right? So what we can do instead of having to rewrite this over and over and over again, we can make something called a makefile. So over here, file, new file, and we're going to save it. And what you have to do is call it makefile. No extensions, nothing, just makefile. It could be a lowercase m if you want, and just save it as that. And I'm just gonna make a quick example. All, and then this has to be a tab here, by the way. So you do all colon and then a tab into the next line, and we're gonna do g++. Actually, because I'm lazy, I can just do it this and copy and paste it, because I'm an awful typer. Control-V. And so we can look at that, right? So we have our entire normal command line that we would type in when we want to compile something. So now the make files in video stuff. So go down, and if I just type in make, it'll run this for us. It'll go, when you type in make, it'll go to the make file, look for the first, essentially target is what these are called, and run the command for you. And you can see that. So now I can do /run this, and there you go, right? So this keeps or helps you a lot from having to retype super long, annoying commands over and over. But also what we can do, instead of having to type run this inside the terminal, right, we can make it do run this, right? So now when I type in make, it'll compile it, run it, and then here's the output from the run. So now, if we want to put that into an out.txt or whatever txt you want, it doesn't matter, and you notice there's no out.txt, we can output file that way, right? And now we have an out.txt with our hello world in there. Awesome. And now, normally we would have some, and I'll create it in here, file, new file, hello world, right? And I'm gonna call this out.correct.txt. Again, you can call this whatever you want. You can call it potato.txt, it doesn't matter. And see, now we have an out.txt in our folder, and we can diff our out.txt that we'll be making and our out.correct.txt. And now when we type in make, here you go. So it compiled, it ran it, and then we diffed it. And if you look, the diff output, it says there's no new line at the end of one of the files, and it will say the mere or the make file or the make errored, and that means one of these things came back with a non-zero status. And by zero status, it means the program didn't return 0 or exit 0, and it'll essentially stop. So you notice that this doesn't have an end file, so you save that, and you're like, oh great, now I get to run this again. Instead of having to run these commands all over again and then compile it, run this, save, and whatever, you just type in make, or you can type in make all. Same thing. So there you go. So there, the diff ran fine. So what we might want to do is say that we did it, and there's an echo command, so like echo whatever, blah, 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 and it will just say stuff out to the screen. So a nice thing is we can do in these makefiles at echo, and then Test passed. Woo! Alright. So now make all. There you go. And there you go. Passed. Woo. And if these output files are different, you'll notice that when we type in make, it'll just stop right there. So it'll diff, give you the output from the diff, and then stop and not tell us that everything's passed. So a key thing to understand with Makefiles is this is called a target right here, and when we type in make, it'll look for the first target that actually doesn't start with a dot. But so we could call this potato, and if we type in make, it will do everything for us. Here, I'm gonna fix this file so it runs all the way through. It'll run the potato for us, or if we do make potato like that, same thing. But now if we try and do make all, there's no make all, right? The reason you'll see all here is just by convention. People will almost always use all just as like a standard. So another thing is you'll start to see stuff being split up and having different targets. So one thing you'll see in a lot of the 280 projects is you'll see main, and main tends to have this in it. It will have the actual compile for it. So let's put that there, and let's put main on this line. So if we type in make, or it will go into the make file right here and look for the first target. So the first target is potato, and now it'll look at its list of dependencies. These are dependencies on this line, and dependencies can be targets, files, whatever, and it sees it needs to do main. So it goes down to main, it sees main, it compiles it, right? It runs the compile command, and then since that dependency was all good, it'll now finish running everything else. So there's /run this, out, diff, whatever. So you'll start to see this kind of abstracted out a little bit, and you'll see variables in these files and stuff like that. But a nice thing is like, so if I did a test right here, I can run the tests and put all the tests in there. And then here, I can just put tests. And I'm actually going to do this. Put the echo command right there. So there you go. So we can also do make test now. And what it'll do is it'll go over, it will go to the make file, and because we specified its target, it will go look for test, and it'll just run this. But there's an issue with tests, because let's say I delete run this, right? So I'm going to remove from this folder, run this, right? And I do make test. It says there's no file or directory run this anymore because it can't run it. So test depends on main running. It depends that this compiles first, right? So if we do make test, right, it'll run main, and then it knows it could run and make this and this as well, right? So another last quick thing that you'll see in a lot of stuff is a clean. Make clean is just really nice because if you have a million text files that you don't want, like if your folder starts to get really cluttered, like I think project 2 with matrices had tons of stuff, it allows you to remove stuff. So there's also, I'm going to put a -vf in there because I can, and then I'm going to run this. So now what we can do is make, so if we just did normal make, alright, and then to make clean, it allows us to remove out.txt and whatever. So when we list, all that stuff's gone, and just show you that it's there before the make clean, right? This obviously isn't too cluttered, but it's just nice to clean stuff and allows you to remake stuff again.